And okay, we were here instead of water at room temperature. See whether the dissolved mass of the solute changes. It would be observed that a greater amount of the solute dissolves at a higher temperature than it does in an equal volume of water at room temperature. So, greater amount of the solute dissolves. That's the observation of this practical. In order to compare the dissolution of various solutes in a given solvent, the amount of solutes dissolved in the same volume of the same solvent. Okay, I'm going to read it again. In order to compare the dissolution of various solutes, okay, solutes dissolution in a given solvent, the amount of solutes dissolved in the same volume of the same solvent at the same temperature should be compared. එතකොට අපිට compare කරන්න ඕන නම් කොහොමද එක එක solutes වල solubility එක. හරිද? Therefore solubility is defined as follows. Solubility එක අපිට compare කරන්න ඕන නම් we have to use the same solvent and the same amount of that solvent. හැමතිස්සෙම 100 ml ගන්නවා. නැත්නම් අපි වෙන අපි හිතමු 1 liter ගන්නවා නම් අපි 1 liter තමයි හැම practical හැම solute එකක්ම dissolve කරලා බලන්න අපි use කරනවා 1 liter. Okay. ඒ වගේම it should be in the same temperature. කියන්නේ temperature එකත් room temperature එකෙම තියෙනවා. So we are ended up with this definition. The solubility of a solute at a given temperature can be defined as the mass of that solute which dissolves in 100 grams of the solvent at a certain temperature. This is the definition. The solubility of a solute at a given temperature. Okay. Then, as an example, මෙහෙම අපි කියන්නේ solubility එක at 25 degrees Celsius, the solubility of magnesium chloride in water is 53 gram. At 25 degrees Celsius, so this temperature is mentioned here. The solubility of magnesium chloride in water, that means in water, 100 gram of water, it is 53 gram. At the same temperature, solubility of potassium sulfate in water means 100 gram of water is 12 gram. Okay, that's how we define the solubility. Factors affecting solubility. You already have heard one factor. What is that? Temperature. So the factor temperature is mentioned above. Factors affecting solubility. You have already identified temperature as a factor affecting the solubility of a solute in a given solvent. Try the following activities to investigate the other factors affecting solubility. Activity 3.1.8. Materials required. 2 small beakers, common salt, sugar. Method. Take 50 milliliter of water at the same temperature into each of 2 small beakers. You have to take 50 milliliter of water at the same temperature into each of 2 small beakers. Accurate weight 50 gram each of the salt and sugar. Adding a little at a time. Dissolve salt in one beaker and sugar in the other. When it comes to the point beyond which no more solid dissolve, stop adding the substance and weigh the remaining solid. See whether the amount left are equal. You will be able to see that the same temperature, different solutes dissolve in different amounts in equal volumes of the same solvent. Hence, it can be said that the nature of the solute affects the solubility. So, one factor affects the solubility is nature of the solute. This is the first factor Second factor. First factor is in here, it's temperature. Temperature and the nature of the solutes. We have discussed two factors affecting the solubility. Next one is activity 3.1.9. Materials required are 2 small beakers, kerosene and sugar. Take 50 milliliter of each of the solvents, water and kerosene at the same temperature into 2 small beakers. In this time, the previous time we used the same solvent as water and 2 solute as sugar and salt. Here we use same solute as sugar and 2 solvents as kerosene and water. Okay, again method, take 50 milliliter of each of the solvents, water and kerosene at the same temperature into 2 small beakers. Add 5 gram of sugar into each of them and stir. In which solvent does sugar dissolve? You will able to see that the sugar completely dissolves in water, but sugar added to kerosene remains almost undissolved. This shows that the solubility of the same solute is different in equal volumes of different solvents at the same temperature. Therefore, it can be said that the nature of the solvent affects the solubility. This is the third factor. According to the observations of the above activities, it is confirmed that the following factors affect solubility: temperature, nature of the solute, nature of the solvent. Of the above factors, except temperature, the nature of the solute or the solvent are properties of matter. What are them? Properties of matter. The characteristic properties of matter are imparted by the particles that make the matter. The nature of molecules which constitute the solute and solvent is a factor. The nature of molecules which constitutes the solute and solvent is a factor that determines the solubility. In grade 10, you have learned about the polarity of a chemical bond. Based on the polarity, chemical compounds can be classified into 2 categories, polar and nonpolar. At the same time, chemical compounds can be also classified into 2 types as organic and inorganic, according to the constituent element of the compound. Hence, solutes and solvents can be classified under 4 classes. What are they? Polar, organic. Here, based on the polarity, how did we classify them? As polar and non-polar, based on the polarity. And organic and inorganic based on what? According to the constituent element of the compound. If it has carbon in it, we normally tell it as organic. Hence, solutes and solvents can be classified under 4 classes. What are they? Polar organic solutes and solvents, non-polar organic solutes or solvents, polar inorganic and non-polar inorganic. That means polar organic, non-polar organic, polar inorganic, non-polar inorganic. So there are 4. From the following schematic diagram, you can identify the examples relevant to those 4 classes. From the following schematic diagram, you can identify the examples relevant to those 4 classes. Solutes, solvents, for both organic and inorganic. For organic, polar, non-polar. For inorganic, polar, non-polar. So I'm going to discuss these things with you later, and then we have to do some little questions here. This lesson is very easy, and this is the basics. You need to understand this one, and this is a very nice lesson. Having more information, you should know each and every of them, and it's very easy. After you finish this lesson, you may find out how much how easy this lesson. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Thank you.